The first time the phrase was translated, the galaxy thought it was a declaration of war. It happened on the mining moon, Kethra 9, orbiting a dim red star in the outer Perseid drift. The moon was owned by the Trade Combine of Valorian Trade Combine and operated by engineers from Valorians. Security was provided under contract through the Triarch Defense Pact. It was considered stable, profitable, routine. Then, the crust split open. A tectonic fault no one had fully mapped. Ruptured beneath Refinery Platform 7, molten. Rock surged upward in a violent column of light. Shockwaves tore through the superstructure. Automated stabilizers flickered and failed as the power grid destabilized. Within minutes, the entire platform began to tilt. Toward the widening fissure, evacuation sirens filled the air. Valorian supervisors triggered emergency protocols. Cargo lifters detached. Personnel carriers launched in tight formation toward orbit. Warning beacons flashed across the local network. Monitoring stations flagged the situation as a Class 4 industrial catastrophe. 30 seconds later, it became Class 5, because one human remained. Inside, his name was Daniel Reyes. He was a structural engineer from Earth assigned to reinforce aging load columns. His service record described him as precise, creative, and occasionally reckless when confronted with mechanical impossibility. He was also standing in the central support corridor while the floor trembled beneath his boots. Supervisor Thalik opened a direct channel. Human Reyes, evacuation is mandatory. Structural collapse probability exceeds 92%. Daniel glanced up as a support beam cracked and showered sparks across the corridor. Yeah, I can see that you will not survive, Thalik continued. All personnel have withdrawn. You must depart immediately. Daniel looked toward the yawning orange glow below the platform. He studied the structural schematics flickering on his wrist display. His expression changed from alarm to focus. There was a short pause. Then he said 4 words. Hold my beer. The translation. Matrix froze for half a second. Hold implied transfer of an object. Beer was categorized as a fermented grain beverage of human origin. The phrase did not match any known combat or surrender declaration. Intelligence systems marked the anomaly. Unknown human idiom detected. Historical. Probability analysis initiated. Threat level automatically raised 2. Maximum dot on platform 7. Daniel set his half finished drink on a control console beside a stunned Valorian. Technician, just keep that safe, he said. I will want it later. He ran toward the central stabilizer core as another shockwave struck. The platform tilted further. Warning lights strobed red across the chamber. The refinery had been built with magnetic stabilizers, designed to counter minor seismic drift. They functioned independently to prevent cascading failure. Daniel had identified the flaw weaks. Earlier, independent systems were safe, but they were not powerful enough. Together, he slid across the floor and ripped open a maintenance panel with a plasma cutter. Heat from the fissure below surged upward through the metal framework in orbit. Triarch defense cruisers powered their weapons to stand by. Data from previous human incidents suggested to outcomes when humans used short statements. Under extreme stress, either catastrophic failure followed, or something impossible occurred. Daniel bypassed 3 safety interlocks and began linking the stabilizers. into a single, synchronized grid. Human Reyes, Alex said, voice strained. You are overloading the magnetic array. System collapse is imminent. That is the idea, Daniel replied, while rerouting power from the refinery processing wing. If they all fire at once, we get one strong counterforce instead of 12 weak ones. It was not how the system had been designed. If the timing was off by even a fraction of a second, the feedback surge would tear the platform apart. If it worked, the stabilizers would burn out permanently. The platform lurched again. A section of flooring dropped into the molten glow. Daniel locked the final synchronization sequence into place. Okay, he said softly. Let us try this. He slammed his palm onto the activation pad. For one endless heartbeat, nothing changed. Then every magnetic stabilizer ignited. At the same instant, a deep vibration rolled through the structure. The downward tilt slowed. Metal groaned as the superheated supports fought against gravity and tectonic force. Lava splashed against the hull, but failed to breach it in orbit. Sensor arrays recorded a massive spike in magnetic output. Triarch analysts stared at their displays against all predictive models. Platform 7 stopped descending. Daniel did not stop moving. He crawled to the primary conduit and manually adjusted power flow to prevent a total burnout. 2 stabilizers overloaded and exploded in showers of molten fragments. His suit registered fractures along his left arm. He gritted his teeth and continued rerouting. Current dot after 40 seconds. The tilt reduced to survivable levels. After 1 minute, the fissure eruption began to subside. After 90 seconds, the refinery stood battered but stable. On the bridge of the nearest Triarch cruiser, no one spoke. Threat assessment recalibrated from maximum. 2 uncertain to human. Emergency crews re-entered. The platform 1 structural scans confirmed stability. They found Daniel sitting against a bulkhead holding his injured arm. He was laughing in disbelief. The Valorian technician approached, still holding the beverage container exactly where Daniel had left it. You requested this item be safeguarded, the technician said carefully. Daniel looked at the refinery around him. Smoke drifted through the air. Systems flickered but remained active. Yeah, he said. I think I earned it. News of the event spread rapidly across Triarch space. A formal advisory bulletin was issued to all member systems. When a human uses the phrase translated as "hold my beer," all nearby personnel should withdraw to a safe distance. Do not interfere unless directly instructed. Increase sensor recording resolution. Raise threat level to maximum, not because humans intend destruction, but because they are about to challenge inevitability. Months later, Platform 7 was fully repaired. The magnetic stabilizer network had been redesigned according to Daniel Reyes' improvised configuration. The new unified grid became standard in Valorian heavy industry. At the commendation ceremony, Supervisor Thalek addressed a chamber filled with Valorians, Triarch officers, and a small delegation of humans. Engineer Daniel Reyes, Thalek said, your actions violated established doctrine and defied statistical survival projections. You preserved 4,322 lives. Why did you remain? Daniel shifted awkwardly in his formal uniform. It was falling, he said. I figured it did not have to. The chamber fell silent as the translation echoed. Many species relied on probability, on risk avoidance, on carefully calculated retreat. Humans had another approach. If something was breaking, they tried to fix it. If something was impossible, they tried anyway. A triac admiral leaned toward one of the human delegates. Is this behavior common among your people? The human smiled, very dot from that day forward, automated systems across known space included a unique trigger in their linguistic databases. When humans say, hold my beer, threat level maximum, because somewhere nearby a human has decided that the situation is negotiable, and history has shown that when humans make that decision, the galaxy should stand back and watch. Asterisk.